Hello everyone, boring movie guy, back once again to do a movie review. And today I'm going to review the movie Rudy with Sean Ashton. John Favreau is in there, and of course Ned Beatty. A couple more people, maybe name them later on, but for right now, uh, yeah, I love this movie, man. It's a football movie, a college football movie. Uh, Notre Dame, to be more specific. Basically, the story is about a kid whose dream is to someday play for the Notre Dame football team. Of course, everyone in his life tells him, yeah, that's not going to happen. You don't have the athleticism. You don't have the drive. You don't have the grades. You just have no chance, man. Everyone told him this, like his teachers. There's even a scene where uh, they're all getting on a bus to go to Notre Dame to check out the college, for people to see if they want to go there. And then his teacher, while he's like ready to get on the bus, goes, "Come here, come here." The teacher just goes, "Sorry, Rudy, but this is meant for people that are gonna go to college, and you're not gonna go, so we're not gonna waste any time with you coming on the bus. So take a hike." And at that moment, man, you just want to punch that guy right in the face, that priest. Because yeah, it was a priest that told him that to make it even worse. Sort of, sort of takes me back to my days going to Catholic school, where the priest was always the worst. But I'm not gonna delve into that. So anyway, he has his father. Every time he says he wants to go play for Notre Dame someday, his father just sort of just laughs it off and goes, Rudy, you're a funny guy." And yeah, so with that, as the years go on, he's working at like a steel mill, and then his best friend dies, and it's he sort of takes it as a sign that it's now or never. So what he does, he dumps his girlfriend or fiance, says, "Sorry, I'm gonna go to Notre Dame, try and get in there." And she sort of just says, "Okay, bye bye." She winds up going. She winds up later on hooking up with his other brother, which is whore. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So yeah, he first has to make the grades. So before he goes to Notre Dame, he goes to like a other college, and he makes the grades. He gets to Notre Dame, and it takes a while. His senior year, he's making good grades. He's gonna graduate. All this stuff's happening, and finally, his final game. He gets there, he gets to play. He's on the team. His dreams come true. I know I'm spoiling a lot in this movie, but if you haven't seen it yet, shame on you. It was made in 1993. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry, but you're very late to the party. And plus, they play this like crazy on cable TV, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything. But I mean, it follows like the normal sports formula. I mean, at the time, the sports formula sort of wasn't even there, because it's not like nowadays where they make a movie about any sort of like inspiring sports story or whatever. Like at that time, there was probably like Hoosiers, and that was it. Well, there was like Newt Rockney, but that was a while ago, and I don't know if you can call it. I guess it was inspiring, but it was more. Didn't really have a formula. But anyway, talking about Hoosiers, this film actually was directed by David Anspaugh, who who is also the director of Hoosiers. He directed this movie as well, so he kind of like is is like the father of the inspiring, based on a true story sports movie. Because the two biggest ones are probably Hoosiers and this one. The first two to sort of take that genre down. Start that genre off. But yeah, we can talk about Sean Ashton. He's great in this, man. Like, he is fantastic. It's weird that he made this and then you hardly like seen him after this movie until like Lord of the Rings. It was like, what the hell? Like, he was so good in this. Why didn't he get like bigger and better roles? I guess typecasting, or people just were like, oh, you're Rudy, and he probably just never got good work after this because everyone was like, oh, you're Rudy. But luckily Peter Jackson was like, let's make him. He could be Sam. I don't know if he had Sean Ashton in mind, as Sam, but I like that he gave him a chance, and I think he proved everyone wrong who was doubting him as that role, because he was really good in the Lord of the Rings movies. But going off on a tangent here, but yeah, Sean Ashton, he's great in this. He could have been annoying as fuck in this movie, but luckily he pulled it off. Like, he makes the character very lovable, and you can't help but root for him through the entire movie. Of course, Jon Favreau, I mentioned, he's in here playing Rudy's like college buddy who helps him get his grades up. And Ned Beatty plays Rudy's dad. Plays him pretty well, I mean, he's always, he's kind of like a love-hate character. Like, you can see that he is sort of like being protective of his son. He doesn't want his son to be rejected and then, get hurt over it. You can sort of see it in his face in some of the scenes. Like when he tells his dad, I'm going to try out for the football team after he, like, after he finally gets into Notre Dame, he, like, tells his dad he's going to go to the tryouts, and his dad sort of like makes his face like, it's like, even though he made it into Notre Dame, you feel like he would be like, okay, go ahead and give it a shot, but he was just like, and I'm glad that they played it that way, because they could have easily done that, but it was just like, it made it even better at the end when he like proves everyone wrong. And then Charles S. Dutton he's in here, he plays like Rudy's boss, because Rudy, he's doesn't have money, and he needs to pay off his tuition, and he gets like a job actually tending to the Notre Dame football field, tending to the grass and painting the field, all the stuff, and just he's like a janitor slash like groundskeeper. But yeah, Charles S. Dutton, I'd say go look up his life story. It's very interesting. He was a guy who went to jail for a long time, and he sort of found acting in jail, and when he got out, he sort of made a breakthrough in acting. So it's a pretty interesting story. So if you don't know who Charles S. Dutton is, I'd recommend you go out there, just learn his story, because I think it's a great story. Very inspiring. I think even more inspiring than this movie. Who else can I mention? Vince Vaughn is in here. I think this might have been like his first movie. Vince Vaughn. He plays like the team's quarterback, and this might have been how Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau like met, unless they met a lot earlier on, and maybe Jon Favreau got him the part in this movie. I don't know, but yeah, the both of them are in here, and as you know, they went on to make like movies like Made and Swingers and stuff like that. So I mean, they made other movies as well, but those are like their two main ones. But yeah, it's funny seeing like Vince Vaughn here, because you don't really recognize him. He's really fucking young, dude. I remember first time I watched a movie, I didn't even recognize him, and I went on like IMDb after I was done with the movie and like researching, and I was like, wait a minute, Vince Vaughn's in here? I went back and watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, there he is. Holy crap, is he young as fuck? And I don't know, he didn't have his receding hairline at that time, so that might have been tough to spot because he didn't have that like receding hairline he always had. um, Trying to think if there's anyone else I'm missing from the cast. I think that's pretty much the main ones I want to mention. Um, but yeah, I guess we can talk about the music. I love the music in this movie, man. Jerry Goldsmith's music in this movie is so damn good. It is perfect for this film. I wish I can get this score on vinyl. I think it actually did come out on vinyl, so I'm gonna look into that and maybe get it. Cause man, I love the score in this. Just do 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 do. But I love the score in this movie. It is so good. I don't even know if it was nominated for an Oscar. It should have been. If it wasn't, I don't think it was, which is a shame. And it's just, oh, it's so good, that score. Mm. I love that score, man. I love to put it on every once in a while. It's so good. And yeah, I guess I can sort of. I still, this day, I'm kind of confused about the one storyline in the movie. There's like this storyline where like Rudy has to try and pick up girls for Jon Favreau in this movie. It's like sort of part of their deal. Like Jon Favreau will tutor Rudy, but Rudy has to like introduce him to like girls around the college because Jon Favreau is kind of a shy guy. So one of the moments in the movie, Jon Favreau's like, "Go talk to her," and it's like this knockout girl, like top notch, like not in your league whatsoever. So Rudy like goes up to her and he's just like, can you just sort of look at him and just wave to him and humor him a bit? And she does it. And there's sort of like this storyline going on between the two of them, where you think it's like building to like some sort of like a romance or something, because he like sort of hangs out with her, and they both have like a lot in common. She's a big football fan of Notre Dame. He's as well. And then they sort of just part ways. And then like one of the scenes, like when Rudy's like on the field, like practicing with the Notre Dame team, he spots her and he's like, "Hey, remember me?" or something like that. Or no, he goes, "Hey, I know you," or something like that. And he runs away, and she's just kind of like starry-eyed, and you never see her again in the fucking movie. Never. And I'm like, what the hell? It looked like there was like some romance building there. Where the hell did it go? Because they take all that time like building it up, and then it just goes away. Like it never comes back. To this day, I'm wondering if there were scene shots, or I'm so tongue tied because it's just confusing, man. But I'm wondering if there was scenes shot that wound up on the editing room floor, or maybe the love story sort of took away from the ending, so they sort of just scrapped it, or I don't know. To this day, I'm confused. And if you're out there, David and Spa, please let me know about that, because to this day, like I am constantly like researching this movie. I have never seen any sort of like document or any sort of like interviews that say that there was more scenes shot with her, with Rudy and stuff like that. Because to this day, it's like one of the main things that sort of just drives me crazy about this movie. They're building this nice relationship up between these two characters, and then it just disappears like it never existed. It's like, what the hell? Where did she go? Where did she go? I'm gonna rate this. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I really love this movie. Whenever I need to be whenever I need to feel inspired, this is like one of my go-to movies. I definitely think it's probably like in my top five sports movies. The thing is, I'm not a big sports fan, to be honest with you. Like, I've never loved, I guess I'll say it, American football. I was gonna say football, but I was like, yeah, I'll include everyone in this. So, yeah, I've never been a fan of American football. Even when I was a kid, I found it very boring, and to this day, I still find it super boring. I hate, I hate a lot of time going to these family get-togethers because they always put on the football game, and I have to sit there and watch it, and I am so fucking bored. I'm bored out of my skull. I'm just like, man, I wish there was like a separate room here that I can go into and maybe like just pop a movie on because I am so fucking bored. Like even like last year for my birthday, like we invited some people over and they put the sports game on, and I sat there on my birthday, bored out of my fucking skull, and I was like, what the fuck? How come we can't do what I want to do on my birthday? We have to put the fucking gotta put the fucking football game on. I'm fucking bored, man. So coming from me who fucking hates football and loving this movie, it tells you that it can resonate with anyone. This movie, very inspiring story. It's hard to believe that this story is actually true, but it is. And yeah, I love it when these are done right because there's been so many movies recently that have tried to like capture the same sort of like formula and story, and a lot of them just fall short, man. A lot of them do, and it's probably because the genre and the formula has been beat to death, and hopefully soon it'll finally be put out of its misery because I am getting sick of so many of these movies coming out. I'm just gonna keep watching this movie over and over again. All those other movies I'll probably just watch once and just be like, okay, I'm done. So, Rudy, go see it. It's great. If you haven't seen it yet, what the fuck are you doing? Go out there and see this. It'll make you feel good after it's over with.